Good evening. This is the Ask Dr. Renee show. I'm your host, Dr. Renee. If you've never seen our show before, the show is here to motivate and inspire you to live the life you deserve. Today is our first Music Monday, and what a better day to start. It is June, which is Black Music Month. And I think we are starting this month off with a huge bang with our artist, he's artist, he's a producer, he's a songwriter, he's everything. That we have our guest tonight. Please, we want to hurry up and get started because he has so much information. So welcome to the show, Teddy Riley.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
Well,
so, go ahead.
We've done this long time ago.
It's okay. It's okay. We're here. That's all that matters. So let's start at the beginning. What did you want to be when you grew up?
What I am now, a star.
Perfect. So
I have to tell you how it came about, because this was at a very early age. At the age of 5, I was my babysitters took me to the Apollo to see Gladys Knight perform, Gladys Knight and the Pips. And that was the most incredible night of my life, to give me that revelation that I want to be a star. Because when I went to go see her, I didn't just go to see her. I'm dancing in the seat, doing the Pips dance and all of that stuff. And she actually noticed me and said, this little kid, I don't know about y'all, but this little kid is into my music. You know what I'm saying? And more than y'all. And that's what she said to the crowd, more than y'all. And she said, bring him up here. And she sung Neither One of Us, and she held me in her arms. And when I got back, and I was sick that actual night, I was sick, but I wanted to go because it was just all in me that I wanted to see a superstar perform. And Gladys Knight was my favorite. And that was just based on my mom and my father playing her music as we were traveling from New York to South Carolina. When your parents just drop you off down with the family in South Carolina and you go into camp. Well, that's what happened to me. But when that happened, I had no choice but to listen to Gladys Knight, Al Green, and James Brown, and Jimmy Reed, and Otis Redding on the way. So I knew Gladys' music, from the age of 3. At 5, I'm singing the songs at her concert. And she picked me up on stage. And she sung Neither One of Us. And when I got back home, my auntie said to me, she asked me the question, what do I want to be when I grow up? Now, what you want to be? And I said, I want to be a star.
So at 5, you went to this concert. So where did music come in? Because I know that you took to music really quickly. So what was your first instrument, and how were you introduced to that?
My first instrument was guitar, and that's only because my uncle Leroy, he plays guitar, and he plays gospel music, and that was the first instrument that was put in my hands. But for some reason, after a little while, I just knew I didn't want to play guitar, and I didn't find my instrument, so next was trumpet, and then after that, I went to drums, and then and that was because my neighbor upstairs was playing drums. And, I was too shy to ask him, can I play his drums? So I was just looking at him. And the first time that I got to a drum set was at my school. We had an assembly. And they had a drum set, a piano, and I was I was in chorus. And I sung. And after singing, I asked my music teacher, Mr. Cornelius, can I play the drums? And he said, you can't play no drums. I said, I think I can. He said, all right, if you can't play no drums, I'm gonna kick you off. I said, all right. So I'm playing the drums, and he's like, and he looked at my mom, he said, he's something. And that's what made me want to play drums, because he gave me that blessing. He gave me, the approval. You can play. When a music teacher tell you can play, then that's something,
Right.
But drums wasn't it. But it was always good that I learned how to play drums. And I learned from here by looking at him and hearing him play. I got it right away. So after that, I just said, I want to play piano. And I just stayed with piano. And I was
So,
like,
did you ever take any formal lessons?
I took lessons in school. I was in drum corps. I created a drum corps for Cub Scouts because, you know, to me, I was just in Cub Scout and it was boring to me. So I said, you know what? I want to do something with Cub Scouts that's never been done. So I took the drum set that my father bought me and created some contraptions to make it, you know, tied to everybody. And I gave all my friends, you know, a drum, and everybody, we had our drum corps routine and everything, and we performed at the parade, you know, the Harlem Day Parade, and we got to be the first Cub Scout with drums and performing with drums like drum corps.
Wow, how inventive. So so your parents were behind this whole music thing then. They supported it. That's great.
He didn't play any music, but my father was the one who always bought the instruments, and you know, he was just taking a chance, you know, on me playing the instruments because he said, you know, he's talented. And my mom was like, you know, well, let's buy him some instruments, and he bought me my first keyboard. He bought me everything.
Now, did your siblings, do they play as well?
Well, my cousin Chris, he played bass. But of course, my uncle Warren, he played bass, and they used to battle over who's gonna play bass the best. And of course, my cousin Chris, you know, he always, you know, we're Libras. You know, my cousin Chris, my cousin Lucy, my sister Libras. And my sister, she always wanted to play piano, but she couldn't play many songs. So she always had her fingers like this, just like, I can do it, I can do it. And, you know, I kind of taught her whatever little chords, and she only used these fingers to play. I said, well, let me play it for you. Let me show you what I can do. And she would let me play, and she would be back, you know, in the back, just maybe singing or being my cheerleader. And, you know, but it was my cousin, my uncle Leroy, and my uncle Warren. They call him Uncle Butchie.
That's wonderful. So you get older, and when did you figure out you could make money doing this? Or did you figure out how to make money doing it? Because you wanted to be a superstar, so you knew that.
Well, I never figured out how to make money doing it until I got older, but it just came in my lap. You know, I went to this center with these guys who performed down in the basement. It's called Fair Play. Fair Play was like the center, you know, to help keep kids off the streets. And I was one of those kids that, you know, went down there, and I went to try and audition with the band that was playing down there, and they practiced every week. And I finally picked up my heart to walk across the street and ask them, could I play for them? And they was like, shorty, it was the guitar player, Jerome, who was my guardian. Later on, you know, when I had to perform at nightclubs with them, he became my guardian, you know, look out for me, for my mom and him and my Uncle Willie. So he said to me, man, shorty, if you ain't good, man, we're gonna take your Casio. So I had a little Casio. And he said, shorty, if you ain't good, we taking your Casio. I said, all right. I said, just give me a chance. So they said, all right, we're gonna play this song. It's called Reasons. You know Reasons? Or you too young to know? I said, yeah, I know Reasons. He said, okay. Let me know when you got it. And remember, shorty, if you don't play this right, you ain't getting this keyboard. So I'm here playing on their keyboard, and they had a Fender Rhodes, and they had some keyboards down there, the real deal. So I'm up here, dag, my hands can't stretch this far, but I'm gonna try. So I wound up playing. The drummer counted it off, Greg. And he said, all right, 1, 2, 3. Boom, boom, boom. Da, 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 boom. So I'm playing, and they're looking at each other like in shock. Who's this little kid from the project that, where did he learn how to play? So it was just my time and my years of playing, and my mother making me play for the church at the age of 9, and that's where I pretty much picked everything up. I didn't really have like a professional teacher or anything. I just learned from being in school, watching my teachers, watching, the head music teachers.
That is true talent, God-given talent. So I know that Kool Moe Dee was kind of your entree into what is now everything. So did you guys grow up together? How did you guys connect?
Well, we both live on 129th Street, but he lived on 129th in Convent, up on Hill, and I lived on 129th in 129th in St. Nicholas Projects, and we would, see each other, but we wound up going to the same high school, and that was Martin Luther King. And I met him there, and also seeing him at the Real Harlem World. The Real Harlem World is a club in Harlem on 116th Street, used to be on 116th Street and Lenox Avenue. And he used to actually be there with Treacherous 3 and all of the different groups like the Crash Crew, Furious 5, Lubbock Starsky, DJ Hollywood, Busy B, Larry Love, and Dougie Fresh, and even more. It was many, many more. But those are the guys that I pretty much remember when I used to go to Harlem World. So seeing them all at Harlem World, I remember who Kool Moe Dee, who he was, and I wound up seeing him at school, and we had a mutual friend. His name is LeVaba. LeVaba is one of my good friends, and he introduced us. He said, Kool Moe Dee live right up on the hill, right up on the same street. So he introduced me to Kool Moe Dee. So I didn't get to do music for Kool Moe Dee then. I wound up doing music with Dougie Fresh. So he introduced me to Dougie Fresh as well. But how I got introduced to Dougie Fresh was I was kicked out of Martin Luther King because I got into some trouble. And when I got in trouble, they sent me to whatever school, that take kids that was trouble. So I got kicked out. I wound up going to Park East, and that's where Dougie Fresh went to school as well. And we met there, and I didn't know I didn't know how to approach him. So I kept just walking past him. He kept walking past me because he didn't know who I was, and I knew who he was, but I just felt like, he's a star, man. He's a rapper. And then rappers were major stars, so he was a star of the school. So I said, hopefully I'll meet him, and it just so happened it was put in the universe, and our same mutual friend that I have with Kool Moe Dee, LeVaba, introduced me to Dougie, and Dougie, said, man, I got this beat, man, and I got this thing that I want you to check out. Maybe you can help me with it. And he came over to the house and he played the show. And when he played the show, it was different from the way it is now, because it had the same boom. So he said, what would you do with it? And I said, this is what I would do. I would add this shaker, and I had the shaker in my drum machine, and I said, you should put something like this. So we put that in, and then I say you should do something like this, and I wind up playing this here. I'll show you. Give me a second.
Okay.
Let me try and put this on. All right. I think it's because I have. Okay, that's why. Give me a second. I'm gonna play it.
No problem.
But when I told him, you need the shaker, he loved it. He was cool with it. But I told him, I said, you have too many, commercials and things, the drops. You need to keep the people dancing. So this is what is going to keep the people dancing. And that was the shakers. And soon as I did that, I had this one piece, which I'm going to play for you. And it goes like this. Let's put on a piano. Okay, there we go. It went from Inspector Gadget.
Right.
So, back then, the sample laws were, wasn't enforced. So we actually got that sample, and I don't know. I don't think he cleared it because then it wasn't the law, but the record was a smash. Maybe he had to pay for it later, but
right.
I gave that, that was my contribution to the show. And I didn't get any credit because I didn't know anything about credit. All I knew was, dang, I'm going to be on something famous. And that was my good friend, Dougie Fresh, the show, his record.
And so
that's when I knew I'm going to make some money because I'm here, I'm over here, and I ain't get paid for these things. Like I did the whole Keith Sweat album for maybe about $1,500. And that was a lot of money. I didn't get no credit on the first half, because I ain't know nothing about production credit. I ain't know nothing about points and all that type of stuff. And, it wasn't, offered to me. So when I finally got a manager, then he went and, talked to Keith and Vincent about my my percentages and my production credit. And after 100,000 records or something like that, a certain amount of records, they started putting my name on the Keith Sweat album, so the people at least know that I produced it. And then also Kumo D, when I did back to Kumo D, when I did Kumo D, it was later, a little before Keith Sweat, but around say like 84, I was just rocking with Kumo D at my uncle's roller skating ring. My uncle and my partner Gusto roller skating ring, and we had this record label called Rooftop Records, and that's where Kumo D was signed. He was signed to Rooftop Records first, and we wound up doing, before the signing with Jive Records, we wound up doing Go See the Doctor and Do You Know What Time It Is. And we did this at this studio out in Jersey. It was like a house studio, a home studio. And we wound up doing that. And the records became famous, street famous, because you couldn't say Go See the Doctor on the radio or, you know what time it is. We didn't have the radio power, promotion dollars to get it on, radio. But we got picked up by Jive Records. And that's what got the records re-released, and it wound up making the album. And that's when we came up with How You Like Me Now and Wild Wild West and all those records. And that's how Kumo D and I got together. And that's when I really figured out I could make some money off of this. When I could have been made some money off of it, I had the right representation.
Right. That is just, I was blown away. I did not know until, so I told Shanti Das, my big sister, who has been a guest of the show. She had you on Props, her podcast. Everyone, please go and listen to that interview. It was amazing. And so I learned a lot from that interview because I didn't know you did these rap songs. I was like, really?
Well, I've done rap songs. I mean,
right.
Worked Big Daddy Kane. But the one thing I want to say is Shanti is my sister, and I appreciate her. We've been in each other's lives for a long, long time. And finally we get to do some things together. We do a lot of nonprofit things. We feed the homeless every year, and this is our 4th year. I know that I'm going to be out here in California a lot, but I will go back to, work with the homeless in the Atlanta mission and Shanti, my partner, on doing anything we need to do to, to give back. And that's what we do, strictly to give back, and, we enjoy it, So
yeah, No Reservations Needed is the name of the Thanksgiving dinner that they do, and it is quite an elaborate feast.
Yes, it is. Last year we fed about, I think it's over 1,000 people. We had to do sessions because the place couldn't fit, everybody all at once. So we had to do, I think it's 3 sessions, So it turned out to be always successful every year. And I want to thank, Case and the Braxton sisters and who else? Keisha.
Napoleon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Little Tootie.
No, Rudy.
Rudy. I say Tootie. I always say Tootie Woody. I'm so sorry. But I've been a big fan since I was a kid, and just to finally meet her and know that she's family of my best friend, who's her cousin.
Right.
It's always a pleasure to be there every year and us supporting each other and, coming together and giving back. So
who's she cousin of?
Huh?
Who's she the cousin of?
My best friend, and I'm the goddaughter of her child. And
okay,
I don't want to disclose her name.
Okay, gotcha. I thought it was Heavy D. I was like, wait a minute, what? Okay.
No, not Heavy D.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't disclose her name. She's
okay. No, I understand. No, it's fine. That's why I was just making sure it wasn't Heavy D. I was like, wait a minute.
Oh no.
So I have a question from the audience. Since you went through that phase of not getting paid, what can you tell upcoming producers today about, the same thing? And should they seek publishing deal or sell their music just to get in the game?
Well, right now, today, the business is a lot different than yesterday. And yesterday was the good old days when you can actually bump your head and get placements. Now it's a case of having a name, and if you don't have a name, you damn near have to give a record away to get your music out there. And that's what I did when I first started. But I wound up bumping into the right people, connecting with the right people, networking, and even though I didn't know many people, my manager at the time, he knew pretty much everybody. So, his Rolodex was my Rolodex, and we pretty much we rolled like that. That's how we got our work, and that's how I got to produce everybody and their mothers.
So, since you did Keith Sweat's whole album, when did New Jack Swing officially start?
New Jack Swing started with me and Dougie Fresh.
Gotcha.
Show back in high school. Before I worked with anybody, it was Dougie. I mean, I did Kids at Work, but I don't want to talk about that.
Okay.
That was a test drive, and of course, we were sabotaged because there was only one young group then, and that was New Edition. So, someone told us that we were sabotaged with that project, and that was some power hitters I wound up signing with later, and that was MCA. MCA was it. They could stop a record on the radio, don't make that famous, don't make that, and the record wound up being famous. That's how I knew that was a special record, and people would have taken to it. But it was actually, truth be told, it was sabotage, and it's okay because I wound up having to deal with the same people who sabotaged that record, and they wound up making it a hit with Heavy D. If you listen to the record, don't you know, that was Kids at Work first.
That is my
song.
So
you can listen to both records and you'll hear the same record. I did that record for Kids at Work, and then, Heavy D was like, I need that record. I love that record, Teddy. So here it is. We all on Uptown. MCA signs Uptown. I do the record with Heavy, and they made it a hit. It was a hit before, but
Right.
like I said, it's a hit with Heavy, and it's a bigger record.
Yeah. That is my favorite Heavy D song is Don't You Know.
Really?
And for those that don't, oh yes, for those that don't know, Don't You Know, it's on the Overweight Lovers in the House. It's on that album, and it is amazing. And it's a slow song, kind of like I Need Love, but I love that song. And I didn't know Al B. Shore sang on it until I think after Heavy died.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you guys didn't see Inside the Label Uptown on BT, that was another thing to watch. Teddy was a big part of that, and so he was on that special as well. So New Jack Swing. First of all, who came up with the name?
Barry Michael Cooper is the guy that came up with the name. He told me to run with it, and that's what I did because I didn't have a style or a name for my music. All I knew then was I was creating something that was a sound that nobody else was doing. So we had to find a name for it. You know, we were calling it sophisticated R&B, bubblegum music, and music to make you happy, heavy R&B, that type of stuff. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to wait. And, you know, every time people ask me, so what's your style of music? I said, I don't have a style. I just fit the occasion. So if I'm working with this person over here, I'm going to get a picture, study them, and then make music around them with my sound. I don't have a name for it. So Barry Michael Cooper said, all right, I'm giving you this name, and I want you to run with it. And that was around the same time he was writing for New Jack City. He's the journalist that wrote with George Jackson, New Jack City, with Fat Five Freddy and all those guys, and I was a part of it, a big part of it. So he said, I'm giving you this name, and you run with it.
So I didn't pay attention. Do you have songs on New Jack City?
Yeah.
Oh.
I have New Jack City, the title song.
Oh, okay.
That was Guy performing.
New Jack City. It sure was New Jack City. I'm singing it now. Okay. Yes, I'm there. So New Jack Swing, first of all, I think this is my personal opinion. You all should get all the groups back together and do a tour.
Wow, you're late.
Like Redhead King Vet, I'm late. Well, I know Guy is on tour now, right? Because I know you guys are coming to Chicago in July.
Aaron and I are doing a tour. Right now, we're doing spot dates. All the groups, I'm doing spot dates with everybody, but we're doing Teddy Riley, New Jack Swing and Friends right now. And we have actually 2 companies bidding on this tour right now. And I just want everybody to keep your prayers that this thing go through, and you'll see Aaron and myself, and hopefully Damien. You know, I still have love for my little brother, man, and that's just without saying. You know, we all fight, but we've never, ever, ever, ever had a fist fight or anything. We'll argue and walk away quick. We'll cry in front of each other and walk away with like I really want to knock you out, that type of stuff. But we won't ever do that because of our upbringing. Their father's a pastor. My mother's, you know, she's an evangelist. She's a missionary, and we don't come up that way. You know what I'm saying? That's not us. And I love Aaron to death, and to see what's going on with him, I would never want to see that. So I said to him, listen, if you come with me and we do this thing right, you'll never have to worry about anything because we're together. And that's what people want to see. See, if they would have gotten this before, we wouldn't be going through this right now. But now, you know what? Everything happens for a reason. And God makes things happen for a reason so that everybody can wake up, and when they come together, everybody knows this is what it is. This is the brand. So with Guy, that's how I feel about that. Aaron and I, we've done a lot of shows together lately. We just did last week the Jazz Fest, the Funk Fest, and tore it up. So just look forward to Teddy Riley and Friends. It's coming. They're just getting whatever the bidding war is going to be done. Once that's done and it's out of the way, because, you know, truth be told, we're the only story that's never been told. New Jack Swing, the movie is coming, the play, the musical, and the book is coming. My book is finished, but I'm not releasing it until I have music for it. And my goal and my dream for everybody that's listening out there is I want my people to see me do a symphony album and perform it with a symphony, playing vocoder or singing, and having people come and guest, make a guest appearance with me to perform my symphony album for my book. And that's what I want to do with my book. I don't want it to just be a book. I want it to be a book with substance and things that people can actually hold on to, like Teddy Riley and a symphony album. Wow. So that's my whole thought pattern. I'll have my new artists, like Prodigy and Jay Jackson, Jafar, and David Abrigo. We have a couple of female artists that we're signing, and I don't want to put them out there yet until the deal is done.
Right.
But they'll be singing. New artists will be singing New Jack Swing with the symphony orchestra. And that's my way of bringing new artists to the table. And then I'll have some stuff done, maybe with some of the artists that I work with, if they want to come on board. But my goal, my dream is just to have a symphony album. And hopefully, I'll get the other artists to do it, but it's still going without.
Yeah.
So
well, that'll be amazing.
Jack Swing tour is coming. I'm not necessarily calling it New Jack Swing. I'm calling it Teddy Riley and Friends, because I don't want people to get a misperception that Teddy is not going to be there, because there have been Blackstreet tours without Teddy there. There have been Guy tours without Teddy there. There have been New Jack Swing tours without Teddy Riley being there. How could you do that? To me, it's fine. Now they really will see a real show, because all of that stuff was a bunch of track stars. And I don't do tracks. I try to stay away from doing tracks. When this show with me and Aaron, that was supposed to have been a track show. I put together a band, and my guys, Gene, Young World, and Atiba, I got some guys that perform with me with Guy back in the day. I just say, okay, I need y'all. And these are musicians that, you can give something in 5 minutes. They're going, it's it. All right, we got it. It's done. And we tore that show up with a 3-piece band. Nice. So my thing is, we've been known, Guy and Blackstreet have been known to do live shows. If you're not getting a live show from me doing Blackstreet, don't come, because that's karaoke. So all the Blackstreets y'all see out there, they're karaoke in it. And that's not how I do it. I do it for real. I do a live show, and I give people a show. I've learned from the best. Michael Jackson is the best. Prince is the best. And I look and I study them. Roger Troutman, George Clinton. I've learned from the best, and I cannot accept anything less than doing tracks and all of that type of stuff. That's for the birds and the track stars.
So how did Guy form? Since we talked about Guy.
My good friend Timmy Gatlin,
who was on the cover of the first Guy album, in case anyone doesn't know.
First Guy album, actually put this together. Him, Aaron Hall, and Timmy were working at a shoe store. And Timmy heard Aaron sing, and I guess Aaron heard Timmy sing, and they came to the studio while I was mixing Keith Sweat. And we were in mix, and they pulled me out of the room. And they said, man, I got some. That's what Timmy said. And he said, listen to this. So Aaron started singing. And I said, Oh my God. He sound like nobody else, but he give me the feel of Stevie Wonder meets Charlie Wilson, Donny Hathaway. I said, man, I'm in. So Timmy was like, all we want you to do is produce the album. Aaron was like, I'm not in this if he's not in the group. Because Aaron asked me to play piano, and then I asked him to play, and he started playing, and he said, man, this could be incredible. I'm not doing this unless he's in the group. So I didn't have no plans on being in no group. So when they thought about it, and Timmy called me the next day, he said, we're going to do this. This is the group. And, Timmy, he was the starting point of Guy. And I don't think he should be excluded from anything because, I've paved the way for a lot of people, and they say it today. Timmy Gatman, if he wouldn't have never introduced Aaron Hall and myself, there wouldn't have been no Guy. I know there would have been an Aaron Hall though, and I would have been right there. I need to produce that gentleman right there. But it just so happened Guy was formed and created, and it's history. This is a group that paved the way for the Jodeci's, Drew Hill, Intro, and all those groups that came out, 3 member, 4 member, it doesn't matter.
Right.
And the Temptations did it for us. Gap Band did it for us. So that's all I can say about Guy and how me and Aaron got together. It's amazing. And how we're back together is even more amazing because I have a mission. And my mission is to make that man rich.
Oh, I love it.
That's my mission. And everybody knows my mission. Every time I talk to anybody about Aaron, and I had said, I'm going to keep it real. I'm transparent. I said to Damon, I said, listen, if something happened to your brother, it's not a good look. And that's on you. We got to get this right. Mm-hmm. How are we going to get it right? We're going to get it right. And I love Aaron. I love Damon. I love Timmy. All the same. The same for the Blackstreet guys. But you cannot get over and be deceitful to people. That's the one thing. And that is my reason for taking this direction with Blackstreet. Blackstreet 2. I don't care who's called Blackstreet 1. All I care about is I have a show for people to see, and people will leave knowing Teddy did something. He's the guy that did that. They're going to walk away being educated. I'm not just coming to get a check. Because you know what happens? I wind up paying to just so people can see the vision of Teddy Riley and friends. Aaron Hall can tell you. Rex and Effect can tell you. They take my check. I'm mostly on the road for nothing. Why? Because I want people to see the vision. And now they're seeing the vision. You see what's going on right now. It's a God blessing. They're bidding. They're bidding on this tour. And that's all I wanted to see was people to see the vision and see that this is the music. A lot of people don't know the music that I produce, just like you didn't know certain songs that I produced. So now you have it. Teddy Riley did work with Jay-Z. Teddy Riley did work with Mary J. Blige. Teddy Riley was sampled by Mariah Carey. Teddy Riley worked with Boy George, Tom Jones, Whitney Houston, Bobby Brown, Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson, and so many people. But a lot of people don't know that. And that's my goal, is to tell my story. And you'll get it with Remember the Time, my book.
I can't wait to read the book. I cannot wait.
Can't wait.
I have to, first we had another question. Someone told me today, you discovered the Neptunes?
Yes.
Oh. So for those that don't know, the Neptunes is the group that Pharrell Williams came out of. Pharrell Williams and Chad Hugo.
Right.
Go ahead.
I chose them out of so many people that, and great singers that appeared at my talent show when I moved to Virginia. The talent show was something to just find the talent, you know, because there's a lot of talent in Virginia. You can see it now. You got Chris Brown, you got Trey Songz. Virginia is loaded. You got Knots,
Missy and Timbaland.
you got Bink. You say the best for last. Missy and Timbaland, and then you got Pharrell. You got Pusha T and his brother. You got M. Watts, my nephew. All of them in Virginia, and even more. Even more. It's so much talent. So many guys out there. So many incredible female singers that's coming out of Virginia. It's just that we gotta look. It's talent coming out of everywhere, every city. We just gotta go there. And I'm your walking American Idol. I've done American Idol before American Idol even started. We made stars. We made stars, you know. And I give it up to the people like Master P and Birdman Baby and Hammer, you know, going back to those guys, even Suge, and Puffy, you know, P. Diddy, Dr. Dre, Timbaland, Pharrell. We birth stars. Jay-Z, we all birth, we get them out there, and that's the thing, you know. You got everybody, you got a lot of people that's doing that, and they don't get the credit. You know, I've done it, and you know, it's been a great role for me, and it's always good to hear the artists that come out of, you know, my camp or been through Future, you know, to say, dang, if it wasn't for Ted, you know. And I got a nephew, Kato, he's the next. He's coming. He's got this artist that we signed, you know, together, and I can't wait for people to hear this kid. I call him the new Millennium Prince.
Oh, wow.
Young kid, he plays every instrument, and you'll see.
Wow. So I have to tell you that Heaven Can Wait is my favorite Michael Jackson song.
Wow.
I could not listen to that song once he died because I just couldn't. I just would cry every time because the words of that song are just so amazing.
Let me tell you, I can't listen to that song now, and I try. And even there's a song called Whatever Happens. No, Don't Walk Away. Jafar, Jermaine's son, sung that song at 14. We're working with him now, and he played that song for me, and tears for him to sing it and sound like Michael. Mm-hmm. It was just tears, and that was when he was 14. Now he's incredible. I can't wait for people to hear him. So I'm really happy to be a part of his project, and you'll hear him soon. When you hear his music, you already know that, you know, he's a Jackson, but he doesn't, like, he can sound like Michael, but that's not his goal. His goal is to create his own sound, and I can't wait for people to hear that.
I mean, I can't wait. I just like good music, and it seems like everything that you do was very good music.
Thank you so much, Mom.
So we have a couple questions. Do you have a formula you look for, or do you just know, you know, for your songs? Is there a science to it, or?
No, I have to tell you this, and my kids' mothers, you know, people always say baby mamas. No, my kids' mothers will probably be like, why do you say that? But I have to say this. Each one of my kids' mothers, except one, have been my A&Rs. They don't know this. And my brother, Markel from Rex and Effect, he was my A&R. But mainly, I have to give credit to my best friend and the mother of my son, Madeline Nelson, who she was one of the first female A&Rs to tell me, this record is a hit. and tell me, don't overproduce. It's done. You already have the bass going, and that song is Rum Shaker. And I made her my manager after that. She worked for me as my assistant, and I said, "You're my manager." And that's how, because she's always been like a real A&R. She knew the sense of a record. She didn't know, like, she couldn't tell you the note or the chord or anything, but she know the sense of this record is a hit. And that's what made me keep the folks. And we're still doing things together now. Like she's managing, I think she's managing, or she's working with Wyclef. And I just did a remix for Wyclef. And just for the fun of it, I entered into this remix site, to do remixes. And I entered in it, and I did this record for Wyclef. He's got this record called My Girl out. And I did a remix for it. And just to, for jokes. And, it wound up being a record that they're going to use. And, it's always great to work with great people like Wyclef. And, I always admired him. He inspires me, and now he did this record. I was like, wow, this is incredible. And I happen to be one of the remixers on the remix site.
Okay. This is...
Yeah, I don't think y'all hear it because they kept it to put it out.
Okay.
So you'll hear it when it comes out. I think they're releasing it this week or something like that. But I want to thank Madeline again. They call her Maddie, for giving me that opportunity to, do that. And it's always fun, doing music and good music.
So this is the 25th anniversary of Rum Shaker, right?
Yes, it is. And
so Rum Shaker came out. I'm aging myself. It came out when I turned 16. And I grew up in a white neighborhood. I would have that song blasting in my car when I would come through my neighborhood, and my mother would be like, "Renee, you have got to turn it down. The neighbors are watching." I was like, "I don't care. That's my jam." We played that tape so much that it got destroyed. It wouldn't play anymore.
Well, I tell you, Rum Shaker was, it was a record that some people thought I was making a wrong move, putting out a rap group first on my label. And I said, the hell with them. And I'm going to move forward, because when you have a plan and you follow that plan, 9 times out of 10, that plan is going to go through. And that's what happened. The plan went through. Rum Shaker became MTV's favorite. They had a commercial on it where the judge, they were judging the record, and the judge said, "No, this record, bam, gets played." And they put "All I Want to Do Is Zoom Zoom," and that was it. And that's what made me feel like, you got something. You got something. You need to keep it going. And that's when I just started producing everybody. Billy Ocean. I worked with Jonathan Butler and Johnny Kemp. That record just got paid. Was supposed to have been for Keith Sweat's album. And it was too late. And the record company was like, "It's too late to put this record on the album. We're already mastering. We have all the credits." I said, "All right, we just got to find an artist for it." And what happened was Keith Sweat, Johnny Kemp, and myself, we were all in bands in Harlem. Johnny Kemp's band was Kinky Fox. And Keith Sweat's band was Jamila. My band was Total Climax. And that was the band that I had Jerome, my guitar player, who was my guardian, Fonz, Danny Atherton, and Dal Walker and Raphael. And it was like 10 of us. It was a big band. We had 2 drummers. We had Greg Birch, and we had Curtis, and we had my other guardian, who was a guitar player. He passed away. Captain. Captain was the captain of the whole group. He was like the guy that funded everything and made sure we had our instruments and we had everything we want. And he was like my big brother, He always took care of me. and kept me off the streets. And that was 3 bands. We were competing against each other in the Black Apple contest. And also we did like the Harlem Circuit and downtown Tribeca's and Atlantic City and City Island. We would perform all these different places back to back. So it would be Jamila first or us first, and then Kinky Fox would come second, and then, you know, we would come last and hit every circuit, and we were the bands of Harlem. So that's why we have a site, a Facebook page. It's called The Band of Brothers. And that's, you know, myself, Jerome, and Dow, and Raphael, and all of us on there, Danny. And that's me keeping in touch with the guys who actually, you know, push me. These are guys, I could say, raised me, you know, because my father was always working, so he was never there. So I had big brother figures, father figures, my cousin Chris, who kept us, you know, hard, you know, and that's how we actually made it, my brother and I. So I always give the credit to these guys and my cousin Chris and my old guitar player Craig and my bass player, you know, with the first band, Larry. And I always remember, you know, where I come from. St. Nick is my spot, you know. Kill and all my friends, you know, who back me up. And even Miss Black, who actually was banging on the pipes of my radiator, you know. The pipes go all the way up to the 14th floor. So it's like you bang on the pipes, turn that music down, until my first record came out. And she said, when she heard Groove Me, like, you can play that music anytime. She came and knocked on my door. I just want to say, I'm not telling you to turn down the music. You can play that music anytime. I really enjoy your music. Because it was a great influence on people, you know, and people back then, they swore by Al Green and James Brown. They didn't care for this bebop, you know, how they call it, bebop, doo-wop, hip-hop, hop stuff. They would just call it anything because they didn't understand hip-hop. They didn't understand hip-hop R&B. They just wanted to hear a good song, and that's what I happened to do for, you know, my parents, because I wasn't able to do Rum Shaker then.
Right.
Then my mother was like, "You're gonna do church music," and here it is. She told me, she said, "You're gonna make it in this music." I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "You know what you're gonna make it in? You're gonna make it in gospel." I said, "What do you mean, Mom? I have some records out here. They're good records. They're hits." She's like, "No hits. Your hit is going to be a gospel record, and watch." And I wound up doing It's Time to Make That Change for Winans. And when that record became #1 and Nelson Mandela marched, when he got out of prison, that was his song that he marched to. It's time to make that change. My mother was like, "I told you, look at it. Look on TV. He marching to your record." I'm like, "Oh, Mom, but what about Guy?" "Yeah, Guy, that's hitting. I love it. But gospel, you do some more gospel." So I wound up doing gospel on Blackstreet albums. You know, The Lord Is Real, and that saved a lot of people's lives. And we got, you know, letters and emails about, you know, how that record saved a lot of people's lives, people from committing suicide. Because the Lord is real.
Amen. Amen. It's time to make a change. I went to high school with Mario Winans.
Wow.
So that was at the same time that you did that.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was so funny because we saw him in the video and we're like, "Oh my God, it's Mario." And
yeah,
that was too funny. My parents took us to a Guy concert. And that was the last concert I think my father attended with us.
Really?
Yes, he was like, "Why are they humping the ground? Why are they?"
Oh,
couldn't take it.
God, that's Aaron. That's Aaron all the way. But
I know.
You know, Aaron, right now, we're older, and he's now a changed person. because, you know, this is what he told me. And this was a few days ago. He said, man, after this tour, I'm not doing this no more. I'm done. He said, I don't want to do this anymore because I really feel like this is taking away just who I really am. And I feel like I can touch more people, but, you know, I'm not respected. I said, you're crazy. Do you know so many people respect what you do?
Exactly.
You just got to give me that chance and that opportunity. I said, listen, if this is your last album, let's go out with a bang. Let's do this tour. If this is your last time singing on tour, let's do the tour. Let's do a record. Let's do some things that is going to make it that. Let's go out with a bang. So he said, all right, I'm trusting you. I said, all right. But yeah, that's what he said. But I'm gonna try and change that.
Please.
I'm gonna make it fun for him. Like he wanna go out with a bang, I'm gonna make it fun where he ain't gonna wanna leave it. Because we having fun on this road. You know, I love going on the road now. You know, and the reason why, because when you got people who still receive the music and just like Blackstreet just did a show 2 days ago and at the Capitol Jazz Fest, and our first time, and people were like, where y'all been? You know, and it's just like, it's like beginning again. It's like starting all over. We're on tour and we're having fun where people are receiving the music like it's brand new. So that's the great thing about it. You know, I enjoy being on the road to explore what they're liking today. You know, what's their interest? Like, what do they think of the music today? And that's what shows it. They appear at our concert because the music of the day is different. You know, it's like tracks, and it's, you know, like I said, you got a bunch of track stars, but I really applaud the rappers and the artists out there that are going out with live bands. That is showing a talent. That is showing that this is not karaoke. I'm not rapping along with the record. I got an actual band. You know, people like the Roots. They are bar none the best R&B and rap band I've ever, like, you know, you got people who do certain things, but these guys do everything. So the Roots, Fugees.
Yeah.
Don't y'all want to see the Fugees again?
Wouldn't we all?
Wouldn't we all? And Wyclef and Plies. Come on.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. We got to inspire these people to come back. And that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
When they see us and Guy and all of us together, you better be prepared, because Fugees is going to come. Brand Nubians and all of these guys, they coming with bands. I can't wait to do that, you know, be in New York and perform Madison Square Garden. You know, when I left Guy, it was at Madison Square Garden. I can't wait to go back there with Guy, either there or usually they're probably going to have us at Barclay, but wherever in New York, I just want our people to see us again.
Now, are there any new artists right now that you would like to work with? You think that they could use your sound?
Wale, ASAP Rocky, because we're from New York, and ASAP Fergie, you know, who else? Pusha T. I just got this thing for bringing music, you know, and substance to rap, and that's what I want to do. I want to be able to explore that with the rappers, you know, that are out today, that, you know, they're making noise, but people are complaining, or people are saying, you know, they don't have music behind their message. So that's why, you know, Wale would be incredible to work with. Um, A$AP Rocky would be incredible to work with because he's the prince of rap. I always kind of pair, rappers to singers, that are out there. And, I feel like, you know, like Kanye West, it's like to me the Michael Jackson of rap, and I have, more, but I don't know if we have the time.
Okay.
That's how I kind of picture rappers, to me, to singers. And that's what I kind of send in my music. Like when I work with them, I'm like, listen, you're the prince of rap. Let's really go this direction. Let's go out. And that's how, I kind of put my ideas together, and which is why, I kind of keep ideas because I'll just go back and just go look in the book, the Bible of R&B singers or rappers. And I say, this is the direction. This is the angle. This is the concept. And here's the picture. And we draw it in the music.
Do you have a favorite song that you perform or you wrote?
You already know that. My favorite song to perform is No Diggity.
Okay.
Diggity. Why? Because here's a song that I believed in from the gate. Myself and Will Stewart, who's the writer, who wrote the words to my melody, and we both believed in this record so much until somebody of a substance and somebody that was special to me who came to listen to it, and that was Heavy D. When Heavy D came down, he was prepared to steal that record from me because I usually give a lot of my records away to Heavy D because I always go back to, it's not how good a record is, it's how you look doing it. And I had so many pictures in my head of No Diggity not being for Blackstreet, but I knew it was a special record. And I just kept my guns. I stuck to my guns and kept the record. But Heavy D made a call to Jimmy Iovine and said, Teddy got another one on his hands. And then Dr. Dre said to Jimmy Iovine that when Teddy do this record, I want to be in the video. Tell him, make sure I'm at the video. I said, man, in order for him to be at the video, I need to get 16 bars. And that was the time that I kind of sort of had like, this thing with Suge, because Suge didn't want his artist to be working with me because we were trying to get Snoop Dogg. And when Dr. Dre left Suge, I said, I hope we don't get a problem getting on this record. And then Jimmy assured us, and it was just history. No Diggity is my favorite record to perform, my favorite record to see people in the club dancing to, and not just, Afro-Americans, everybody. I heard No Diggity in a country club. People like doing the country thing,
Right. The line dance.
Line dance, and all of that stuff to No Diggity. I said, man, this is a special record. And then it happened to be on Pitch Perfect, and then the Fruit of the Loom commercial, and then the Beck commercial at the Super Bowl, the Beck beer. I said, this is it. And still out today.
Right.
People still remaking it. I feel great about that. And
my favorite Blackstreet song is Happy Home.
That's one of my favorite songs as well. And I'll tell you why. Because, it was a song that I felt I needed. For me, I needed to have a happy home, and it was something that I chose. The producers that produced it, I said, we got to fix the music. We got to do this. And I wound up doing it, and it wound up making the album. I'm not happy that it wasn't picked as a single, but people picked it as one of their favorites.
Do you have, we got to close this out because I don't want to, I know I'm going to be mindful of your time. Favorite Michael Jackson memory you can share?
Yes, I do. I have a lot of them, but let me try and choose one. When I was playing my demos, introducing my music to Michael from me, because he's done his research, listening to all the music that I've done before working with him. And he told me his favorite song is Spend the Night from Guy. And he asked, he said, who's singing this song? We could spend the night tonight. And he started dancing with it, like just going in, like, you know, like I said, how you know that song? He said, that's my favorite song of your group, Guy, right? The Guy, that's, I said, yeah. He said, that's my favorite song. So that's my moment with them.
Wow.
He have a lot of favorite songs. Like when he said Heavy D was his favorite rapper in the whole wide world, I said, that's my best friend. He said, can you introduce me to him? I said, of course. He said, I'm excited. Please, please. When can you do it? I said, now? He said, you have his number? I said, yeah, I got his home number. He said, please introduce me to him. And then when I introduced, that was it. He's like, will you do a record with me? You know, and they started talking, and next thing you know, he's on the Michael Jackson Dangerous album. So,
wow. Yeah. Wow. You tell us, where did the Yep Yep come from? Said, oh, Yep Yep.
Yep Yep actually was originated from me. And that's the one thing that I can say that I came up with that I just kept saying, and now people are saying it. But, you know, of course, other people may say that's them, but I know if you listen back to the records and do the history, you know I'm the one that made it famous. So
yes. So do you have any wise words for any young talent regarding management, business, trying to get into the industry?
Yes, I do. The main thing you gotta have is people around you that you trust. Once you have the people around you that you trust unconditionally, you'll have a great business. Because that's the one thing I didn't have. Was someone that I trust to make sure that I get my just due, I make the money that I deserve, and I got jerked. So those are the things that you have to watch out for. You get the right person that you trust, and a good lawyer, a good attorney that is not going to rip you. You know, I don't know if people have seen the movie The Firm. If you see The Firm, you'll understand how attorney firms work. And, you know, they could charge you for a phone call. They could charge you for anything. But if you get an attorney that works out, you know, work out a deal, excuse my English, work out a deal that they will take a fee per deal that they do for you, and they'll stick with you. You got a good attorney. But if you got an attorney that is continuously calling you on the phone and you did a retainer agreement with them, just know that that phone call is a charge. That word from him is a charge. Him moving paper that you don't even see is a charge. So you don't get with attorneys like that. Why? Because it's always going to happen unless you know that attorney. And some of my attorneys I know, so I can go with a fee because I know that they're not going to rip me. My attorney is Paul Schindler and Nyanza Shore and Darren Haston Lowell. My attorney for family is Jen. I know a lot of people seen her on my Instagram because we had, you know, a case that we were dealing with, and I thought I was going to lose, and she just brought it in. Like, she really did her thing. And, you know, I've done a retainer agreement with her, and she'll tell me, here are your discounts, this is what it is, and da da da, and this is what it would have been. That case could have cost me a real arm and a leg, and I just thank God for putting the right people around me. So that's what I have to tell artists. You know, I'm speaking in Indiana at this panel talking about that, you know, being in the business, you know, and I want to thank the people that's bringing me out there, along with Rico Love, who, you know, just thought of me, you know. And, you know, I was looking at him the other day, and he had said, you know, stuff about keep your ideas to yourself. Don't tell nobody your idea. Don't tell them what you're doing, because once you tell them what you're doing, that's when you get the scrutiny, or you get somebody who's hating that want to see you fall, because they don't want to see that happen. Keep your ideas to yourself. I'm inspired by people like that, you know, because I used to do it all the time. Oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this. Now you have to read about it when it happens. You know, and that's what I say to the producers. Keep your ideas to yourself, unless it's somebody that inspires you and you want them to hear your idea or your music that don't want to see you fall. But it's hard to tell. You know what I'm saying? Because most people want what you have. So that's more reason for you to say, man, I'm not going to tell my idea, not even to my mom, until it get done. Because your mom, she's already counting like, okay, well, that means I can get my new car, and I can get this, and I can get that. But I love my mom. She, you know, I was so happy to buy her first car back in 1991, 92. When I finished the Michael Jackson album, I came home and bought my family, you know, the Washingtons, in which I'm a Washington. A lot of people don't know. My mom, her maiden name is Washington. But being a Raleigh, you know, I enjoy being a Raleigh. Me and my brother, you know, everybody know about the Raleighs. So that's what I say to the producers, you know. Just keep your ideas to yourself. Keep good people around you, people that you trust. And if any minute you have a thought that you can't trust someone, get rid of them.
Fill in the blanks. Music is?
My life.
Success to me is?
A gift.
And finally, the last question before we want you to plug everything you have going. What do you want your legacy to be?
My legacy. I want to be remembered as a hero. I want to be remembered as someone who made something, which is my sound of music, my genre. You know, being one of the producers that came up with my own sound and have my own genre. That's what I want to be remembered as. That's
so please tell everyone. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, finish.
No, I'm just...
Please tell everyone how can we support you? You know, what do you need us to do so we can support you, so that you can help everyone that you're trying to help?
Well, just follow me. Okay. I'm at Teddy Riley 1. Teddy Riley as one word and the number 1. And I am Teddy Riley on Facebook. I am Teddy Riley. On LinkedIn, I am Teddy Riley. And on Twitter, Teddy Riley 1. Let me see what else. That's mainly it. And we have the site about to go up. It's being designed right now, and that's going to be it's either trx.com or teddyrileypresents.com or teddyriley.com. So we're working on that right now, and hopefully, you know, this gentleman who's trying to charge me like crazy money for my own name. You know, he says he has someone named Teddy Riley in his family, but I think it's a bunch of bull crap. and he's a squatter, but it's okay. We're gonna work it out. People will know it's my site, you know, and we don't need the name. That's how they got Teddy Riley on Twitter and Teddy Riley on Instagram, because you got people who see, you know, they see I'm a gift from God. God is blessing me, and they know that. So they want to be a part of the blessing. To each their own, and good luck to them. And I just want people, you know, just to follow, because I'm gonna bring that music. I'm gonna bring it. You know, follow my daughter, Nia Riley. She's on Love and Hip Hop, and that's how you can, you know what I'm doing. You follow them, because, you know, we work hard. Her mom and all the mothers of my children work hard raising our children, you know, and they're turning out to be something. You know, my daughter Deja, you know, she's doing a new show that's going to be on screen, and I can't wait for people to see that. And it's coming soon. I can't wait for everybody to see. And really, I have to let everybody know I don't do this for myself. I do it for my children. You know, they're my boss. You know, I can't. They don't want to hear it when you can't buy them something, or you something, or you can't get them in school or college, or pay for the tuition, or pay for the tutoring. And my kids went to private school, and even though the stuff and the struggles that I was going through, I protected them so that they wasn't embarrassed in school, and I didn't go back on the streets. So that's the one thing you must know. I worked hard. I'm a hard worker, and you can't take that from me. No one, the old Blackstreet, anybody, you can't take that from me, that I've done what I did to make you who you are today. That's the one thing that I can roll away saying, and God knows, Judgment Day, you bless people, and that's why I blessed you. That's what it is. I want to thank, I was on a call this morning during Ramadan with the Minister Farrakhan, who I enjoyed speaking, and I enjoyed the prayer. You know, I'm a Christian, but there's nothing wrong with learning all of the books of the religion, and learning, you know, stuff that you don't know, because no one else is going to teach us. So I really enjoy that, and I will be on as many calls as I can, because he spoke incredibly, blew me away. So I want to thank him for that, and I want to thank my Godfather for the prayers. You know, he's been keeping me in prayer before I leave here. You know, he comes in the back, because, you know, sometimes he gets sad, and, you know, he's 70-something years old. So he's like, listen, I pray because, you know, you never know. You may not see me tomorrow. I was like, man, we're going to see you. Come on, let's just get this prayer done, and I'll see you when I get back. So that type of stuff, you know, with my mom, her and the family in Charleston, keeping the prayers, you know, because we come a long way. We come a long way, and I'm so happy to have such a praying family and friends, you know, for me and my team, and even their kids out there. You know, a lot of people praying for us, you know, to keep doing what we're doing. It's positive.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Everyone knows you can follow me at Ask Dr. Renee on all social media platforms. And of course, you just heard Teddy Riley 1 on Twitter, on Instagram. I will have all of that information in the box below. This is Black Music Month, so God willing, we will have some more music coming soon. I was hoping to be able to make an announcement, but I didn't get that message yet. So just stay tuned. If you subscribe to my website, you'll know. I'll send it in an email. Follow me on everything, and we'll let you know what's going on. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next week right here, same place, same time. Thank you again, Teddy.
Thank you.
And don't go anywhere.